Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
A heavyweight crusher, Serghei Pavlovich, is coming to make his name known. He wants to be the new title challenger. He wants to be the new king of the division. But we got a guy that slept on. We got somebody that I think is going to give us a y'all must have forgot moment, win or lose, in Curtis Razor Blaydes that you cannot forget about. Folks, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. UFC Vegas 71. It's a bit of a slowdown in terms of the MMA action that we've had thus far, but you know what they say about these cards. These are the cards where you get all the finishes, all the knockouts. These are the ones that you sleep on that gonna wake you up, just like the motto goes for the sleeper segment, folks. So breaking it down with me, as always, is my co-host, the man coming off of a fantastic, perfect 6-0 victory week. The New Mexico native, Santa Fe bomber himself. AJ, brother, what is happening, my man? I know you still coming down from the high of a perfect week. Just tell the people how you feeling.
Derek, can't even come down from a high because we got a very interesting card for this week for the fights, man. And I'm glad you let it off. You took the words right out of my mouth that we got King Bobby Green, or I should I say King now, as the voice of the sleepers. But this is a very apt card, man. You said it yourself. This is a sleeper card. And what happens, you sleep on it, you get woken up later on, looking at stars in the sky, wondering, checking Twitter, checking to see what actually happens. Folks, do not miss this one. Even though there's not a lot of recognizable names, we'll cover it. But either way, it's going to be a lot of fun this Saturday night. I'm excited. Derek, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling like we're doing things with purpose right now. And the reason why is because you tune into this show because we're going to make light of the stars of tomorrow. Maybe not highlighting the superstars of today. Everybody already knows who those are. But the people you don't know, who in 6 months you're gonna be like, where did that guy come from? Well, if you tune into this show, you already knew who it was about. You know what I'm saying? So listen, folks, I'm gonna ask you right now, if you are not subscribed, if you look down and you check, hey, am I subscribed to this channel? And you're not, we gotta change that. You gotta subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Last time I checked, 550 subscribers here on the Bloody Water Podcast. I want to see at least 600 by the end of the month. Why not? We got what? 13 days left in the month. Let's get it. It's 4:20 when we're recording this episode. So smoke one, hit the subscribe button, and let's keep it pushing. AJ, we're not here to mince words here today, but I do want everybody who is watching this right now, who's listening, if you're listening, tune in and watch and take a look at that scoreboard right there. Scoreboard, 36, 23, and 2 for you, 29 and 30 for me. I'm not gonna lie to you, AJ. Before we get into things, I felt a little down. I'm like, oh, my picks are not going the way that I have intended them to go. That's the fight game. That's the nature of the beast. It's a long game. It's a marathon. But in the reality, I mean, it's a 7-pick difference right here. We got to keep our foot on the gas, baby. So listen, give the people a reason why they need to be invested in this head-to-head tournament that we're doing here. We do it every single year, and we put ourselves accountable and we put it on the line. But tell the people why this is important.
Folks, if you're a new subscriber, or you're not even a subscriber, like Derek said, hit the button. But if you're new to this channel, go back, look, year 1. I'm pretty sure it might have been year 2. I don't even remember because we're doing this a long time. But I had maybe a 15-fight lead. There was a massive lead that I had. Derek came back in a very short amount of time, and you can see that shiny gold belt right behind him. I don't remember if it was the one that's on the wall or the one that's right in front of it. But either way, he snagged it right out of the jaws of defeat, man. I was right there, and that's exactly why you need to tune in, because this is a race to the battle. Sure, it might be a 7-fight lead at the moment, but this can change at any point in time, and there's a reason why we always say you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because at one point I had to get ready, and Derek caught up to me. So I'm not letting that happen again, folks. But the best point about all of the little rant, all the little bit I had right there, we're winning you some money. I mean, how mad could you be at a 6-0, 5-1 on a prop bet? And I guarantee there's gonna be more of that coming from both sides of the screen right here, folks. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
That's it. Free money, free cash, free bags right there. And let me just take this little poster off so the people can see. Oh, that look good. You got to think I got to feel away, right? 2-time champ over here, and I'm getting my ass kicked right now. But that's going to change, hopefully. We'll see. All right, folks, with that being said, no more mincing words. I know that's not particularly what you care about, but I do know what you care about right now, and we're going to talk about it. Look at that on the screen. We're about to pull it down in approximately like 5 seconds. So get your screenshots in while it counts. But AJ, as usual, we need to go over the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks because we're pretty goddamn good at those when it comes down to picking the same fight. Generally speaking, we get it done more often than not. There's 3 people we need to concern ourselves with, and I want to start from bottom to top. We need to start with Semi the Jedi. In a sentence, I'm just going to say this, man. Technique, precision, power, and patience and pace. I guess that's a lot of words at the end of the day. Would you agree or no?
I'd agree, Derick, and I wish I could alliterate a little more like you, man, but you hit the nail on the head.
There we go. Next one, we got Iasmin Lucindo, coming off of a very impressive loss to Iasmin Serghei, right? Found ourselves in a position, found ourselves in a position where she's fighting an up-and-comer, a tough finalist who didn't get the job done in Brogan Walker, who I think is going to make for an interesting bout, man. But at the end of the day, we'll talk about it more in a second. Are you super high on Lucindo like the odds makers are, or do you think that Walker can make it competitive?
I am super high on Lucindo, Derick, but I don't know if it's because I'm super high on Iasmin or I'm just not as high as the hype on Brogan Walker. We'll talk about it a little later, man.
That's right. And then y'all must have forgot Curtis Razor Blaydes. People act like this guy isn't arguably top 3 in the heavyweight division through the Ngannou years, even through the John Jones resurgence, man, through the Stipe Miocic, all these guys who have come and gone and all that. Curtis Blaydes has been the one consistency who just hasn't been able to get it done against certain champions. I mean, who knows, man? I think that he gets it done against everybody else besides that. We'll talk about it in a second. Anything on that, AJ?
Man, it's hard to be a Curtis Blaydes fan, but I think this is the time where preparation meets timing, and we're going to see luck on the side of Curtis Blaydes, hopefully. Man, this guy can need one.
We'll see, because Serghei Pavlovich is a scary man. But all right, brother. Without any further ado, subscribe if you haven't. Let's talk about this main event. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, my man. I said it just a second ago, and I'm going to repeat myself really quickly. Serghei Pavlovich is a scary, scary man, and he is looking like a berserker right now. He's looking like a dude who is taking the UFC by storm, a guy who we continuously keep doubting. Oh, he can't be that good, and he's just demolishing everybody in his path. You look at his last 3 victories, you have 3 straight victories against, let's see. Yeah, we got 3 straight victories. Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Shamil Abdurakhimov. Not just victories, but we have knockout victories, right? You want to go back a little bit further? Maurice Green knocked him out. You want to go back to Marcelo Golm, knocked him out. Alistair Overeem is the man's last loss. And he did get finished by the Ubereem, right? But at the end of the day, man, impressive stuff for Serghei Pavlovich. Now, we have to be honest when we're talking about the last 2 fights. Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis, right? Fun fighters, momentum fighters, built-up fighters, but are those the true litmus tests? I think that Curtis Blaydes is the real litmus test in the heavyweight division, but you tell me. Derek Lewis, plotting heavyweight. Tai Tuivasa, plotting heavyweight. They get the fights done, but is this the first real legitimate, you're fighting a true full-formed mixed martial artist at the highest level for Serghei Pavlovich?
Now, full form, Derick, is where I have a little bit of pushback because I feel that sometimes Serghei Pavlovich can outstrike Curtis Blaydes. He gets a little not sharp on his feet, on his head movement, on his defense. Curtis Blaydes can get caught, and that's what worries me about this one. But as far as a litmus test going into the heavyweight waters, this is it for him, man, especially for somebody who does pose that multiple threat. Can strike. Like I said, the defense, it is what it is. But can strike, has power, and more so than that, he can push you up against the fence and control the fight, whether it's on the cage or on the ground. Curtis Blaydes does provide a real heavy threat right here. But like I was saying before, Derick, how worried are you that Serghei Pavlovich, all he needs is one? Because if you go back to the fights you were talking about, his last 5 have all been finished in round 1, and the only fight he lost was still a round 1 loss. But this dude comes out hot, heavy, swinging heavy leather, man. It's a worrisome for me because the defense of Curtis Blaydes. Do you see the same holes I do, or do you think it's something else?
Well, I can say confidently the last 4 fighters that Serghei Pavlovich has fought, he's been able to go full-fledged offensive because you haven't had to worry about a takedown coming back his way. And that's the thing with Curtis Blaydes, is that you're going to stall some of that offensive momentum for Serghei Pavlovich with a threat of the takedown, because Curtis Blaydes is not a lay and pray. Razor blades, that comes from the elbows he's dropping on your head after he takes you down, right? So it's literally, okay, let's take a look. Normally we don't jump into the props this quickly, but minus 105 TKO prop for Curtis Blaydes. You'd have to imagine the odds makers are saying we haven't really seen Pavlovich tested in the UFC with grapplers. Curtis Blaydes has done it time in and time out, man. He has taken down everybody. And now his recent test has been, can I win fights without taking people down? And yeah, you won 2 in a row. The last one doesn't really count. The Tom Aspinall one, not really, because they didn't. To me, this is the same thing as Arnold Allen's victory over Calvin Kattar. You didn't really fight, you know what I mean? You got around, there's a freak injury, you got to win technically, you got a TKO on your record, but at the end of the day, I think that Curtis Blaydes has shown He is arguably in the entire heavyweight division, the top 5 right now. He's the most complete fighter there, besides John Jones, obviously, right? So when it comes down to it, I think the question that you're asking right now is his stand-up good enough to survive a Serghei Pavlovich blitz, that classic blitz that he has where he just opens up? And I don't know, man. I don't know, because what happens is you see it time in and time out, man. You see these grapplers who they're decent strikers, right? But their tendency, just like Masvidal did to Ben Askren, is to dive down, is to shoot at the hips. Derek Lewis already took advantage for Curtis Blaydes. Why would Serghei Pavlovich not have the same game plan of things up the middle? You always talk about it, uppercuts, knees. Give them something to think about so they don't shoot. Do you think Serghei Pavlovich, because if he shows that, do you think Serghei Pavlovich, do you think he's just this new hybrid heavyweight that nobody's going to be able to touch, or what?
Man, if he's able to stuff a takedown, put razor blades down, facing the mat, scoot back a little and start landing some shots, I'll eat all the words right here, man, because that would be incredible. I would love to see it, but I don't know if when Serghei Pavlovich blitzes, I don't know if he has the retracting status or the escape status to be able to get out of there, because once that blitz is going, that dude is full force. It's so easy for Curtis to get to those hips and actually get a takedown. That's what worries me with that fight. But I don't know, man. That's why I'm actually very excited for this fight, because I do feel like the grittiest, the hardest working, the most determined fighter is right now Curtis Blaydes at this time. He's going to be a problem to deal with if he can escape that blitz.
Looking at a macro perspective, one thing that's really interesting to me is that if you look at the last 10 fights of these fighters, last 5 is the most popular. Last 10 fights between both of these fighters, they've both gone 5 rounds once. So you can't sit here and say Pavlovich can't go multiple rounds if he needs to. Granted, 8 of the other fights that he had were all finished in the first round. You know what I mean? He's just smashing people, knocking them all out in the first round. He went 5 rounds once, and then he did have a 3-round decision victory, right? So we won both of those fights. That's impressive, bro. If you look at Curtis Blaydes, he got 3-rounders. He's got 1 5-rounder against Alexander Volkov when he wasn't able to finish him. The only difference is all of these have basically been in the UFC for Curtis Blaydes. So you've been facing the high-level competition. That's the big narrative to this story to me. If Curtis Blaydes can drown him, if he could take him into round 2 and round 3, where that quickness for the heavyweight, Serghei Pavlovich, turns into the just regular heavyweight, Curtis Blaydes has seen it time in and time out. I don't see why he can't get the job done. I guess the big question to you is, if we're taking a look at the over and under right here, the over and under is 1.5 rounds, minus 145 for the under. Who does that favor more, Pavlovich or Blaydes?
Pavlovich, to be honest, man, because that blitz is coming. I was actually going to ask you, Derek, over under 1 round, do you think Curtis Blaydes shoots? Because me personally, I think he's going to shoot in the under. I think he's going to shoot in that round 2, that round 3. Try to stand up, try to keep him thinking I guess this guy isn't going to wrestle. Let's just stand and bang. Hell yeah. Next thing you know, you're on your back on the mat. That's what I'm expecting right here. Do you see it the same?
I actually see it exactly the same. I see do not take the ace out of your sleeve and show it right away, right? Stand, trade with him, make him tentative, make him hesitant, and then once he finally commits, shoot for the hips, and then get him down, smash elbows, and get the job done. On the opposite hand, we have seen Serghei Pavlovich literally just be too overwhelming for a lot of these heavyweights. I just don't think Curtis Blaydes falls into the same category as Derek Lewis and as Tai Tuivasa. And that's arguably, those are the real big wins. Shamil Abdurakhimov, I've been saying writing's on the wall for a little bit, brother. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So, listen, no disrespect. These guys are all heavyweights. They all kick our ass. Curtis Blaydes is the real deal. Give me Curtis Blaydes. I want AJ. I want the TKO. This is not going the distance. These are heavyweights. These are big boys. These are bad boys right here. Give me the minus 105 TKO. Do I see a lot of value on that? No. I'm going to advise everybody watching this, if you're rocking with my pick, take the money line, Curtis Blaydes, minus 175 all day long. How do you see it?
Derek, I don't really like to do this the exact same, man, where we're choosing the same people in the exact same way. I don't see value there, but I do see the fight ending like that. Curtis Blaydes, TKO. I'm actually going to take the over in that round 2. I think it's going to come late round 2, so we're going to see some ground and pound, and we're finally going to see Curtis Blaydes get back to where he needs to be, challenging for the title belt. Soon enough. We'll see, though.
A big statement win here for Curtis Blaydes ensures titles next. That's it. It's either going to be Jones or Miocic, whoever wins that fight. You know what I'm saying? But all right, brother, that's going to be a big time heavyweight main event right there. Now let's move on to the co-main event, man. And believe it or not, bro. So I'm over here and I'm at the PFL regular season number 3, right? Watching some fights. They got Sai, homeboy, big black homeboy, fucking kickboxer. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't, you got to watch some PFL. Dude's fantastic. Got the knockout victory. And sitting in front of me in the little lounge area, I was like, who is this big Hawaiian dude? Oh, it's Brad Tavares. This dude was ready to go, baby. So listen, if that means anything, he's looking sharp. He's looking ready. But he's got a big test in front of him. And Bruno Blindado Silva right here, man, who's also coming off of a rough loss to GM3, man. You get pieced up by GM3. A little bit of a weird look. Here's my question here, man. Bruno Silva, probably in any other situation, if he didn't come off of this loss to GM3, we eat this plus 145 up all day long. We tell people go running to the odds makers, go running to the sports books and cash in on this. But not against this guy, in my opinion. Brad Tavares makes things a little more tricky because Brad Tavares, I thought odds would be flipped, personally, right? So how much do you think that loss against GM3 played into these odds right here?
Massive, Derick, massive. And I honestly think this was Bruno Silva just underestimating GM3, underestimating an old school vet who thought he's like, oh, I'm going to get an easy one on this one. This one's just lunch money. It's all good. Then you get it pieced up. And it is how it is. And that's why I don't think he's going to make the same mistake against Brad Tavares, because you're right, Derick. Now he's the underdog. Now he's the one where everybody says, oh, this dude washed up. He got beat up by GM3. What? Brad Tavares is going to smash this dude. There's a lot of people who are still sleeping on Tavares, and either way, man, do not sleep on either of these fighters. That's why I think this fight's going to be very, very exciting, man. What's on the line? Brad Tavares actually getting some recognition, showing who he is, proving that he is the veteran who's really grown up in the UFC over the last 3 years, or even longer. I don't have the exact number, but against Bruno Silva, who can reclaim the actual hype and momentum he has going forward. There's a lot to eat on this plate right here.
That's right. I mean, if you look at the losses in the last 10 fights between both fighters, man, they're not bad losses. Bruno Silva, GM3, that's a real veteran. Alex Paeta, what do you know? Former champion right there, right? For Brad Tavares, it's actually interesting. Yeah, you're coming off of a loss to Dricus du Plessis, right, who was making a real storm in the middleweight division. He didn't do bad in that fight, though. Tavares did not do bad in that fight. If you watch, man, like, he was looking sharp in the beginning of the fight, drowned him to the deep waters. Things got a little bit interesting. The other two losses, Israel Adesanya, before Adesanya was champion, and Edmund Shabazi and the Golden Boy, right? Other wins, man. Amari Akhmadov, you got Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr., Christoph Jocko, Elias Theodoro, rest in peace. Bubba McDaniel. You got some good fighters, man. Brad Tavares is a game dude who I think people underestimate because he's not super flashy. He just does everything really good, right? Takedown defense, striking, pressure, ring control, all of that. The only problem is Bruno Silva is one of those guys who's very Gregory Rodriguez-esque to me that has tools that he refuses to use. So let's talk about the grappling. It's not going to be easy trying to take Tavares down, but Silva has that in his back pocket. Does he use it, AJ? Are we falling into another case of a fighter that we love to watch, we love to root for, who just doesn't use the tools we want him to use? Is this another case of that?
100%, Derick. I don't think he's going to find the success using the jiu-jitsu against a very experienced Brad Tavares, man. Me banking on this fight, man, I'm hoping to see Bruno Silva utilize the length, utilize the reach, the kicks up the middle, all the things that we've seen him kind of be flashier about, but really go out there and try to eat. Because if you're on the back, if your back is on the mat against Brad Tavares, there's going to be some heavy leather raining down on you. It's not going to be a fun night. Do you see it the same way, or do you think he can pull something slick off the back?
I think he could definitely pull something slick off the back, man. This dude is good, bro. He's a finisher. Bruno Silva is an absolute finisher. The reality is, though, would I bet on that? No. I would bet on a knockout more than anything else because if you look at, 8 of his last 10 fights and literally his last 8 wins are all knockouts. He's just knocking everybody out. But Brad Tavares has faced higher levels of opposition in the UFC throughout his entirety of his career, which is why I think it's interesting that he's not only a minus 175 favorite, but plus 170 for that decision right there for Brad Tavares. So my question is rounds 2, rounds 3, where are we dragging Bruno Silva? Is this just a war of attrition? Brad Tavares keeps the pace up while Silva slows down, or what? Because clearly the TKO is being favored in Bruno Silva's corner, plus 205. What do you think?
Well, that's interesting, Derick, because in my mind, until I looked down at those odds right there, I actually had it flipped. I was expecting Bruno Silva to be the one, I was expecting Brad Tavares to be the one that was getting a little more gassed in those late rounds, where Bruno Silva was staying a little bit sharper. At least that's what we've seen. The gas tank of Silva has proven itself like you even said in the Dricus du Plessis fight, we've seen Tavares not falter but wilter a little bit. You know, the it gets a little lactic acid. It is what it is. So that's what I was expecting. But seeing this makes my eyes peak at that plus 500 decision for Bruno Silva, because that's what I had in my mind. But maybe I'm thinking about something different. Derek, do you see it in the odds makers' favor?
I think the odds makers might have it right on this one, bro. And the reason why is because what makes Brad Tavares slow down? It's constantly fighting off takedowns, fighting off grappling opportunities. If Bruno Silva doesn't use it, and it's strictly a striking matchup, man, that's the best Brad Tavares you're going to get, which is why I like Brad Tavares here. I feel like he's still an underdog, even though he's literally the odds maker's favorite here. I feel like he's still an underdog. I'm going to take Brad Tavares, but this is a tough one because this is two sleepers, in my opinion, going toe-to-toe. And Bruno Silva coming off that bad loss. I just don't know if you come super motivated again, or now if Brad Tavares says, I know how to break this guy. I know how to, you know what I mean? I just don't know. I'm super high on both guys. But give me Brad Tavares and give me that decision prop right there. How do you see it?
You're right, Derek. This is a very close fight between two sleepers, and I'm a fan of both of these fighters, man. It makes it hard to pick, and in fact, when I was sending you the picks right last night, I was flopping, man, back and forth. This is going to be a very interesting fight to see how the X's and O's actually break down. Give me Bruno Silva. Give me that decision, man. I'm sticking to the gut. Give me that decision. I think he's going to come out calm, calculated, and patient, control the fight, get the dub, confirm to himself that he still is the guy. Hopefully, we'll see.
Listen, bro, only guy to take guy to UFC to a decision. I mean, this dude's tough, and he gets to weather a storm. So we'll definitely see where we go on that one. All right, brother. Let's talk about a favorite of the show, a fan favorite account, just a favorite in general, Bobby King Green, a.k.a. Bobby Green's retired, but we're talking about King right here. We're talking about Tekken 3 over here. What are we saying, man? Nah, for all jokes aside, Bobby Green, Jared Gordon, interesting pairing for UFC matchmaking. Jared Gordon coming off a very controversial split decision loss to Paddy Pimblett. And then Bobby Green, who you got to love him. I mean, this has probably been one of the roughest streaks of his career. You get knocked out by Drew Dober, knocked out by Islam Makhachev. All of that kind of heat that you got and that momentum off of the Guido win, the Venata win, the Patrick win, even the Hak Perost and the Ali Quinta knockout, it's kind of all gone. Now it feels like we're in a new generation of a Bobby Green fighter. So I'm going to ask you this, man. I instantly was appalled when I saw Bobby Green decision prop minus 140 against Jared Gordon, a.k.a. I'm going to make up some nicknames. This is the glove. This is the wet blanket. This is the guy that takes all of the fun of a Bobby Green fight and just extinguishes it by holding him, by hugging him, by pushing him up against the cage, clinching him, taking him down, and not letting us see a classic Bobby Green performance. Where do the odds makers get minus 140 here? Do they just think that Jared Gordon is just going to strike with him at distance for 3 rounds? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't bury the lead on that, Derek, because that blew my mind, man. I was expecting that to be the TKO odds, something in there, man, because this is crazy. I agree with you. I don't even have any words to add to it because I'm flabbergasted at how they're coming to that decision. Maybe they think just Jared Gordon has a chin and he's just going to withstand every single punch that's going to come his way, yet not get a takedown at all and be forced into a barn burner. I don't know, man. It seems like long shot to me.
And this is clearly my just opinion at the end of the day, obviously. This is all what anything is, right? But Jared Gordon coming off a very controversial split decision loss where you kind of took off the 3rd round and that cost you the fight, right? Regardless of what you say about it, if he was more aggressive in that 3rd round, maybe he could have got the victory. Even Dana White cracked on him, was like, bro, you over here crying, complaining about robbery. You should have been more active. Do you repeat that performance or do you double down and you say, all right, well, shoot, I don't like losing half of my paycheck. How about I pick it up a little bit and I put it on? You have to against Bobby Green or else he's going to light you up all day long. So that's what I'm saying, man. If you think Bobby Green is going to have this super uber fun performance and you look at the last 2 guys that he lost to and you look at the fashion in which that happened, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Because Bobby Green, if you look at the Drew Dober fight, I mean, he was putting it on Drew Dober. But Drew Dober is also a guy who will sit there and strike with you. Well, Jared, do you think, in your heart of hearts right here, you come in, it's Saturday, you flip on the TV, Bobby Green, Jared Gordon announced. Can you envision a scenario where Jared Gordon is just standing up, kickboxing with Bobby Green?
No, in my heart of hearts, Derek, not at all. But the one thing that does change that, when you got the boss who's cutting your checks saying, yeah, you're a boring fighter, I'm not going to put you on a pay-per-view card again. You really need to go. Or I'm not going to put you on the main card again, nonetheless a pay-per-view. Yeah, you lost your last fight, admittedly. There's a lot of things going forward to make Jared Gordon have that second thought of, do I need to attack? Do I need to do this stuff? And when you're really pushed into fighting out of your comfort style, fighting out of how you like, then you start leaving some holes open. And who's great at exploiting holes, Derick? Who's an amazing counterpuncher? It's King over there.
That's right.
And that's where I think the X's and O's are going to be made, man. That's why I was expecting a TKO prop to be a lot higher than that, or a lot lower, I guess.
I really think if Jared Gordon, for even 15, 20 seconds, says, I'm going to ditch the game plan, I'm not going to set up my entire game around getting that takedown and controlling him where he cannot put damage on me, I think Bobby Green lights him up, and I think Bobby Green can get a knockout legitimately. But I just think that if you put the wet blanket on Bobby Green and you take away all the fun, all the explosiveness, all of the boxing of Bobby Green, we've seen there's not really much. There's much to be desired on the ground, and if he wants an exciting fight, this is not the guy you have an exciting fight against. For that reason, I love me some Bobby Green. He is the voice of the sleeper segment here on the Bloody Water podcast. I love that he's getting his main card shine. But I got to take Jared Gordon plus 225 money line and plus 375 prop. You sprinkle some on both right there. If you're rolling with me on my picks, I see this as the what am I even witnessing matchup on the entire UFC Vegas 71 slate. So give me Jared Gordon. Give me a decision. How do you see it?
Folks, I got to let a little disclaimer at the beginning of my picks right before I let it out, man. I am going to fall for the narrative on this one. I think Bobby Green showing up to the pre-fight presser in a flashy suit, diamonds on, gold, stack of cash right here, was purposefully doing that to flaunt it in front of Jared Gordon and make him think, oh, is this the what I want in life? Do I not want to be the person getting, relegated to the prelims, getting shit talked in the comments? Let's have an old school playground fight. First one to shoot's a bitch. Let's get down. Hopefully it goes down that way. We'll see. Hopefully the wet blanket does not show up. So for that, all those reasons, give me King TKO round 1.
Oh, sure. I mean, listen, that's a bold prediction right there. If we're just taking a look down memory lane, I just want to show this really quickly, right? Jared Gordon, if we're talking about losses, Paddy Pimblett split, right? He got choked out by Grant Dawson. That was a rough one right there. And then the last knockout, 2 knockouts, Joaquin Silva, which is kind of random, right? And Chucky Olives. So it's happened before. Who's to say it can't happen again? But I will say put respect on Jared Gordon's name because I don't think he falls for the glimmer and the flash, given that the man says, I went through real rehab, man. I did prison and all that, bro. Y'all don't know what this life is about right here. I don't think he falls to the temptation that easy. But listen, man, I would love that narrative. I love me some Bobby Green, baby. Let's go. All right, man. Let's move on to the next one right here. So, AJ, I have to mention this. I have to. The mics were cold. And it was pre-show, and we both came to the conclusion. Odd bout placement. Iasmin Lucindo versus Brogan Walker. Now, you got Ricky Glenn and Christos Giagos on the prelims. You got Carol Hossa and Norma Dumont. You got some ranked fighters. You got Muhammad Usman and Junior Tafa on the prelims. How did we make this flyweight bout and put it on the main card and say this is something that the people need to watch? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I think Brogan Walker comes as motivated as she ever has been after suffering a lopsided Ultimate Fighter finale loss to Juliana Miller. And then we saw what Juliana Miller ultimately went to do when she came to the picture. And then it was just, expectations, not quite there, right? And then we saw Lucindo say, hey, well, if anyone has a style that's kind of similar to Juliana Miller who can give Brogan Walker fits, it's her. And it's not the wonky or unorthodox style. It's the Lucindo's in your face, sitting in the pocket, ready to brawl, bro, ready to get it. And that's the one thing right here that I think makes this a main card bout, because I think they're going to stand toe-to-toe and somebody's going to go down. What do you think?
I couldn't agree with you more, Derick. And I think Lucindo is a scrapper and Brogan Walker is going to come hungry, man. And I also when I was racking my brain on this, like, why in the world would the matchmakers put 2 very new, very unknown fighters besides the hardcore fans on a main card, or on a main card like this, where you have ranked fighters, people with names, people with value, man. You got Norma Dumont, Carol Hossa on the prelims. There's a lot of fighters that deserve that shine, But to me, this is the odds makers and the UFC brass saying, hey, if y'all want to, we were talking about wet blankets before, if y'all want to be a wet blanket and y'all want to just wrestle yourself to victory and you want to take the easy route, well, it's a prelims for you. Give me somebody who's going to stand and bang. Give me a scrapper. This is a fight. And I think that's the narrative for this one. I mean, I hope that's the case, because other than that, I don't really see a reason. Besides, this is genuinely going to be a very fun fight. I was just expecting it to be on the prelims.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that it's going to deliver. I think it has to deliver, because I was doing a little bit of a deep dive, man. And I'm like, wow, all right, Lucindo, she's a pretty massive favorite, minus 300. I think if you look at the live odds right now, it's even higher than that. I'll actually pull it up kind of as we're looking through this. But the deep dive that I found was that these are both really good prospects, man. If you look at the losses on both of these fighters early in Lucindo's career, she suffered a little bit of adversity, right? She's 13-5, two losses kind of early on. She got the recent loss against Iasmin, which was, after rewatching it, not the closest fight in the world, right? But it was still like Iasmin is a legit prospect, highly touted. Now, if you look at Brogan Walker, man, we're talking about, Juliana Miller, but we're talking about Erin Blanchfield, and we're talking about Miranda Maverick. That's like her only losses in her entire career. So it's not like she's not good. Yeah, you got tripped up in that finale. Here's the one problem I have with the Brogan Walker. On tough, she looked like she was outclassing everybody on the feet with her striking. She looked more technically proficient than everybody. But Juliana Miller comes in with this crazy, I'm in your face, brawling, you know what I mean? I'm crushing your space, and I'm not allowing you to be technical, right? And all you saw was Brogan Walker back up, chin sky high on some Dusko Todorovic. Shout out to our boy, right? Why can't Iasmin Lucindo just repeat that performance of, I'm in your face, I'm sitting in the pocket, I'm more comfortable than you in the pocket, that chin goes up in the air, and it's game over. I'm pushing you up against the clinch on the cage, and then I'm backing up, and I'm dropping bombs. What can Brogan Walker do to combat that, man? Because in the grappling department, I'm not really sure who has an edge here.
I was actually going to give the edge to in the grappling department to Lucindo. I believe she has more. Yeah, she has more wins, 2 more wins in the grappling, but still it doesn't really count too much, as far as proven inside the octagon. Because what my big concern for Brogan Walker is she the kind of fighter who, like you said, Derek, showed up amazingly on The Ultimate Fighter, is probably a killer in the gym. But when it comes down to fight night, when it comes down to show night, is she going to be the best performer? I think it goes to the scrap pack, man, the scrappy Lucindo, and I think that's who's going to perform. Now, what can Brogan Walker do to combat that? We've said it once, Derek. We'll say it again. Be the bully. When somebody's in your face, full pressure, gas, foot on the gas, everything, shots coming down the way. They're not thinking about anything coming back at them. You step up to the side, have them feel that power, get them on their heels thinking, oh shit, now that actually hurt. That's when Brogan Walker can go to work. That's when she can become technical. Does she have the power to do it? We'll see, because Lucindo is a dog. So that's what makes me excited for this one. If Walker can step back, calculate, hit her with the counter punch, and then make this a technical fight, it goes exactly against the scrap pack. But if Lucindo can come in here and make this a dog fight, man, I think it's going to be her round 1.
Well, it's interesting too, because the only reason I said I don't know who has the edge in the submission game and the grappling game is because if you look at the career of Iasmin Lucindo, you got to go digging before you see a submission victory, right? Listen, last 10, there's no submission victories. There's a submission loss, right? But there's no submission victories in her last 10 bouts. It's all either knockouts or it's decisions, right? Brogan Walker, though, if you look at just her entire career, it's all decision-based aside from really the last 2 fights, right? The Emily King fight and the Juliana Miller fight. So that's why I have a high likelihood this fight goes to a decision. I do not think Brogan Walker just gets starched with a one-punch KO or anything like that, unless the chin is sky high and you just get caught. But I think that this will be a little more competitive. Do you think there's a high likelihood of a knockout here, given that both fighters are probably going to be hungry, probably going to be coming for it? Because you have to go Lucindo if that's the case. Look at that, plus 1,800 TKO for Brogan Walker. Like, the odds makers give her 0 love here.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't say I'm banking on that KO, especially with the props that high, man. Plus 400, plus 1,800. It's a little wishy-washy to stay away from. But, Lucindo can get it done. 3 knockouts on her? Yeah, 3 knockouts on her slate. Brogan Walker, she's only lost by knockout once, and it was the last one. So, can it happen? Yes. Do I plan on it happening? No. I think the odds makers have it right here. The closest thing to a decision, or the closest thing to a good-looking odds, is that decision one. Do you see value in that plus 400 or that plus 800 for Lucindo, Derick?
You know, I see value in the plus 400, but in all likelihoods, there's a minus 140 decision prop for a reason. You look at the likelihood of both of these fighters and the style of fight that they bring. Unless Brogan Walker, because we're kind of banking on Brogan Walker pulling a Iasmin Jauregui type. Let's trade the whole 3 rounds. Let's just trade and let's get after it. You'd have to think you get pieced up a little bit. The game plan approach it changes, it shifts, and you say, I don't want to be in that danger. So give me the Iasmin Lucindo, man. These are 2 prospects that not a lot of people know about. Not a lot of people are too high on. I'm high on Lucindo. I think she can be good. She's young, bro. She's like 23 years old or something like that, man. She's good. And Brogan Walker, a little advanced age. Either way, yeah, Lucindo decision. How you see it?
I'm with you, Derick. Another one that I don't like to do, man. Yeah, I want to spread out the love on the prop bets a little bit more. But when there's a minus something on one of these props, you got to rock with it. It's there for a reason. Give me Lucindo by decision.
Yeah, and I mean, shoot, it's there for a reason, but you got to be careful. Remember, Chris Gutierrez had the minus like 115 decision, and I called it. I said, how? And then what happens? Pedro Munoz gets the dub. That's me going wrong with that. But all right, brother. Jeremiah Wells versus Jedi the Semi, Matthew Semelsberger. Bro, this is a fight. If I had to say all the fights on the main card, this is the fight that has given me the most fits. Back and forth, nonstop. Watching tape of both of these guys, just being like, they're both so good, bro. They're both so good. Jeremiah Wells, explosive. He can grapple. This dude has a death touch in his punches, and he's a scary because he's a composed explosion right there, right? Mm-hmm. Semelsberger, pace, violence, death touch as well. Has a takedown defense, right? And he can really sit there and like defeat specialists at their best game, man. AJ Fletcher gets a win. Jake Matthews gets a win. Had to deal with the jiu-jitsu of Jake Matthews. Still got the win. Impressive stuff, man. So I have to mention, Matthew Semelsberger, I do believe that he opened up as a small underdog, like a plus 115 underdog. Now the odds have shifted to minus 110. But that also meant that Jeremiah Wells, upon open, was a favorite. When I'm looking at the live numbers right now, we do have it as a pick'em, right? So I think that the odds makers have come back to their senses and said, whoever really gets the first blow or whoever puts themselves in a position to really maximize their game plan, that's the one who can, get the edge out. But the question is path to victory for both fighters. For Jeremiah Wells, if you're looking at his last win, devastating knockout against Court McGee. Who knocks out Court McGee the way that Jeremiah Wells did? Nobody, right? Look at the one before that, Blood Diamond, choked him out easy. You look at Warley Alves, knocked him out crazy. These paths to victory aren't always efficient. Semelsberger, on the other hand, he had his run of quick 30-second KOs. Now I think it's put it together, decision victories, longer victory. What do you think, man? What do you think path to victories?
Yeah, path to victory, man. It's hard because sometimes Semelsberger, he has such a death touch, he doesn't even know he knocked you out. He'll hit you with some stuff, and look, I forget which one it was. It had to have been the Sano or the Jason Witt fight where he hit him, he cracked him, and then looked at him like, oh shit, I did that. And then freaked out like 10 seconds later because then it actually hit him. But the same thing, Jeremiah Wells, dog, he has a death touch that can be unmatched out there. If he hits you right, you're going to sleep. So in my mind, man, the first round is the most dangerous round for both of these fighters. The longer the fight does go, I favor Semelsberger more, especially because he's a little more proven in that. Like you said, he can come out more composed. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of a chess match. But to me, I think this is going to be a barn burn in the first maybe minute and a half. And then we're going to start to see a chess match go on. So tuck the chins, get hide up a little bit, put the guard up, because there's going to be some heavy gloves flying. I don't know, Derick, do you see a barn burner coming, or do you see a little more tactful fight here?
Yeah, I see it actually a little bit different, man. I don't think the first round is going to be crazy. I think both of them are going to respect each other's power because they know what they're capable of. A little bit of a slower start, and then I think one person slips up, and whoever slips up, the other person is going to explode, crazy explosions. What I've seen for Jeremiah Wells that is really interesting is where he's catching a lot of these guys on these long, extended combinations. It's not the first punch. It's not the second punch. It's not even the third punch. Oftentimes, it's the fourth punch. And you can't leave yourself open for 4-punch combinations against guys like Semelsberger. That's the one difference that I really see here. Is Jeremiah Wells would put himself in danger to get that KO. Semelsberger, on the other hand, very tactful, hands up defense. We've seen him in tough spots and weather the adversity to come back. I just think Semelsberger, if these two guys fight 10 times, personally, even though this is a pick'em, I think Semelsberger definitely wins like 6, 7, 8 times out of 10. Given 3 rounds, you don't just get starched. I do think Jeremiah Wells a couple times does just starch him, and it just is what it is, right? But that's with anybody. So let's take a look at these props, man. What do you make of the props? Because they're not really giving a lot of love to Jeremiah Wells, but in one place that they are is the most surprising place. It's the submission. I get the submission. I get he's good at grappling. But Jake Matthews, Alex Morono, AJ Fletcher, those are your last 3 opponents, grappling heavy opponents on all 3 of those guys, and Semelsberger came out unscathed in 2 of the 3. So why do you think that is?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Derek. You said it in the Jake Matthews fight. That's the one that really caught my attention. Where I was like, damn, all right, but Semelsberger is growing. Like, this dude is making leaps and bounds of improvement. You can tell he's putting work in the gym. As far as why they're giving Jeremiah Wells the submission, the favorite on the massive favorite on the submission, if you're looking at the 2 props, I'm not sure. I mean, what, 4 wins by submission? Does that really secure it? I don't really think so, especially, I mean, you got that one nice one against Blood Diamond. I wouldn't call it a fluke, but I do think Blood Diamond kind of set himself up not in the best route. Wasn't a stand, it was a rear naked choke. I'm not sure, Derek. I don't even have an answer, because it seems, I would think he's a little bit more well-rounded and more of a heavy hitter than anything else, although you're right, he does have ground game right there.
The Blood Diamond one, you can't call it a fluke, but you call it that's cash. That's easy cash, right? You fought a kickboxer and you choked him out. All right, are you surprised? No, right? It'd be surprising, right, if you fought like Jake Matthews and you choked him out. That's like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, bro, only 2 losses on Semelsberger's last 10 is going to be Alex the Great White Morono, and we're talking about Chaos Williams, right? If you're looking at the sole loss, it's going to be Vinicius de Jesus. That was a decision, 5-round loss for Jeremiah Wells, and that wasn't in the UFC. So I think it's going to be interesting. Little older is Jeremiah Wells, 36, right, versus 30 years old for Semelsberger. Give me youth, give me tact, give me poise, give me pace, give me a technician, give me somebody with a death touch who knows how to manipulate himself and not overexert himself. Give me round 2, round 3. Give me a decision. Matthew Semelsberger, how you see it?
I like it, Derek, man. I'm with you. Give me the youth, and with the experience that comes with all these fights in the UFC, man, I'm going Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews, excuse me. I got twisted up right there. Give me Matthew Semelsberger, Semi the Jedi, and give me a TKO round 2. I'm gonna get a little ballsy on this one, folks.
Yeah, man, this honestly is the guy. I think Jeremiah Wells is too good. I don't see him getting knocked out in this one, but anything can happen. With that being said, folks, keep it simple, straight, concise, to the point. That is your main card for UFC Vegas 71. And you know this is arguably the most anticipated part of the entire show, because this is, like I said, us highlighting tomorrow's stars, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a condensed 60-second bar pitch way. It's going to be simple. It's going to be beautiful. Let's talk about some sleepers, baby.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
Sound familiar? That voice, huh? That's King right there. That's your boy on the main card. He ain't slept on no more. But listen, folks, we got some sleepers. I'm excited to talk about them, and I don't want to mince any words. I want to jump straight to it. So let me break mine out the bag first, AJ. And I want you side by side with me, because this is that much of a banger. We're talking about Muhammad Usman, the most recent heavyweight tough winner, but he's fighting a bad man. Not bad man. We're not talking about Justin Taffa, the bad man. We're talking about the brother, the juggernaut, Junior Taffa, man. And just because he's junior, ain't nothing small about this man. This kickboxer, legit, real deal striking. And when you look at this 4-0 record, you got to take a look at KO, 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 and KO. We knocking people out. It's game over. Muhammad Usman, on the other hand, left hook Lariat, a light heavyweight in Zach Pauga to win the championship. You got to respect him for what he did, but that was not a real heavyweight. Now you got a loss to Brandon Sales where he got choked out. I watched that fight. I was a little disappointed in that one. And then you got some decision wins, some knockout wins. It's good to see. Here's the point right here. This is going to be pure violence. Someone's either getting knocked out or they're going to exert themselves, gas themselves out to the point where they're getting knocked out. Either way, someone's going to sleep. This goes to a decision. Y'all fire me for my position. I'm calling guaranteed violence, guaranteed blood, gore, and knockout on either side of the position right there. How do you see it, AJ?
Derick, when I saw you post this in the Discord chat, man, I was a little mad at myself. I didn't jump on this one faster. This is a sleeper amongst sleepers, folks. Someone will be taking a nap. You can see all the red right there, or green, whatever color it is. You know how that goes over here. Either way, man, someone is going to sleep. I'm excited, bro, and I can't even fathom the words to tell you how excited I am, because this is one of the fights where people are just going to be walking forward, hands down, big hooks over the top. Except for Junior Tafa's a little more slick, so don't sleep on either of these fighters, man. People are going to be taking a nap.
100%. And I wouldn't be surprised if Usman tries to shoot. You might see him shoot, but guess what? You shoot and you're not successful, someone's getting knocked out. Either way, standing, ground, you're getting knocked out. AJ, you got a really, really good sleeper, and believe it or not, if I did not pick my sleeper, this was the one I was going to go with, because this is guaranteed violence as well, brother. Talk about it.
This is guaranteed violence, Derick, but at a smaller scale, and not necessarily smaller scale, like there's going to be less of the violence. These boys just weigh a little bit less. That's all. And by a little bit less, I mean basically on the other side of the spectrum right here. But we got Storm, Batgari, Dana got Batgari. We said it millions of times. We're going to mess it up again. Against a Bam Bam, another Bam Bam, Brady high stand, man. Brady made his debut in The Ultimate Fighter, didn't get enough respect. I mean, a lot of people liked him, but wasn't really the most liked person or at least admired person at the fight stand. But Bam Bam can bring it. The one I can kind of relate Brady high stand to is a Kai Kara France. Around that same kind of spunk, the same kind of tenacity, high stand is going to bring the fight. And if you're looking for somebody to bring the fight against, it's Dana Batgari. This Storm is for real, man. This is going to be an absolute war, and especially with those two losses that Batgari has actually had in his last two fights. Who was it? Decision and then a KO against Chris Gutierrez, against El Guapo. You know Dana is going to come out hungry, which leaves more holes for high stand to exploit. This one's going to be a barn burner. There's a reason it's the first fight of the night, folks. Make sure you tune in and watch. Get ready, get your popcorn, grab your brew, grab the people you like, and tell them to pay attention, because like Derick said, these are the fights that are going to be the stars in the future. There's been times where Uncle Chael's talked about it. Who are these guys? Who's this? Nobody knows about them, folks. If you're paying attention, we've been talking about them for years now.
Yeah, you should already be familiar with both Bam Bam high stand and Dana Batgari, the Storm, baby. Let's go. All right, folks, that's the sleepers. Now, we got a couple prelims that we definitely need to talk about. And AJ, we already mentioned it earlier. This is not the most star-powered event that you have in the world, but there's a couple good fights here. Ronnie Yahya versus Montel Jackson is going to be a very interesting one. And I need to pull this up really quickly, man, because the people need to see the discrepancy that you're going to see in the octagon here. First off, you got the OG, 38-year-old Ronnie Yahya with a phenomenal jiu-jitsu blitz forward style. But there's a slight difference in terms of height, stature, reach, right? Listen, bro. 5'8" for Ronnie Yahya, 5'6", excuse me, for Ronnie Yahya, 5'10" for Montel Jackson, 68-inch reach versus 75.5-inch reach. Now, if you're a normal person, right, and you're in like a normal weight spectrum, you're probably like, well, that's not that crazy, 5'6", 5'10", whatever. That's not that tall. He's going to look ginormous in the cage, bro. Like, he's going to look like an animal right here. And the real question is going to be, can he use those meat mallet hammers of hands right there to disrupt the jiu-jitsu of Ronnie Yahya? Because if he doesn't, Montel Jackson is getting his legs snatched up, probably heel hooks, choked out, something crazy like that. How do you see it, AJ?
I see it exactly like that, Derick. If Quick Jackson is able to keep Yahya off of him, keep him at length, keep him at bay, work those hands, work the kicks, it's going to be a very nice striking session. If he doesn't, man, watch your limbs, watch your elbows, watch everything, because Yahya is serious on the ground. A veteran in the game, like you said, Derick, the age discrepancy is there, the height discrepancy is there, but even more so, Yahya kind of takes a little bit lower of a stance. So you're right. We're going to see a massive height discrepancy. But sometimes, man, it doesn't matter at all, because Yahya can get to those hips and get you to the ground.
100%. If you want to talk about another really fun fight here on the prelims, we're going to be talking about Ricky Glenn versus Christos Giagos, man. And so you have a wrestler versus a well-rounded jiu-jitsu striker, all that, and Ricky Glenn. Here's the thing, man. If I'm not mistaken, Ricky Glenn came back in a major way to get a majority draw, right, against Grant Dawson, KGB, no, that draw, or whatever. Is it KGB Dawson? Yeah, there we go. I was thinking, yeah, KGB Lee or whatever. Either way, here's the point. I could have swore he retired after that. So I'm just like, why is Ricky Glenn back? what happened here? So Ricky Glenn's back. All right, that's news right there. And you fight Christos Giagos. Not a fun fight if you're Ricky Glenn. That's not the guy you want to fight. Good striker, really, really good wrestler. I don't even have a prediction on this one. I just wanted to break the news. Ricky Glenn's back, man. Did you know? Did you know he retired? Am I making this up? Did he not retire? What do you think?
Man, I was going to be quick and pull up the Twitter watch, the roster watch, but nah, man, I have no idea. I don't even remember. I was trying to look. It looks like he was trying to book a fight with Drew Dober in 2022. So I guess he's back, man. Ricky Glenn is here. I'm favoring a little bit of Christos Giagos, but we'll see.
We'll see. Never count out Ricky Glenn. I think we've seen that in the past before. Carol Hossa, Norma Dumont. I don't want to pick. I don't even really want to talk about it. It'll be an interesting, fun, striking matchup with a bunch of clinching. I don't see it to be super exciting. My question is, why do we keep having these fights? What is there to fight for in the women's featherweight division? You're not going to fight Nunez. They're not going to give you the fight. What are you fighting for?
Paycheck, maybe money. I don't know. That goes back to the point of why I think they're on the prelims right here, Derek. Not really much behind it. Not really much excitement. Nobody's really clamoring for this fight. Norma Dumont is one of my favorite female fighters, and even me, I didn't make it a sleeper.
I just don't understand why fight in a division where there's no hopes of being the champion. Like if a championship isn't on, like you're literally fighting. Like go to the PFL and fight for $1 million. Why are we fighting? I mean, I don't know, bro. I can't go about this.
Maybe you don't want to cut that much weight. I don't know, Derek, but yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, when Muhammad Mukayev noted, "Hey, bro, my fight purse is $38,000," I was like, "Ugh, that's what you're fighting for? Yeah, that's nice to a normal person like us. Give me 38 racks for a fight. Give me that all day." But I mean, for your livelihood, without being a champion, bro, go get go get a desk job. I don't know what I'm saying here, man. Go to a different promotion. Go to Bellator. I don't know. All right, man. Last one, then let's get up out of here. There's really two fights that I want to talk about. Francis Marshall versus William Gomes or whatever. I'm just going to tell you guys without any further comment, go watch that fight. That'll be a fun one. But I want your thoughts on Priscilla Cachoeira versus Karine Silva. It's going to be a fun fight, bro. That's going to be a fun fight. And if Cachoeira can put her on the front foot and really, put her game plan in motion, I can see some danger. I could see a knockout, another knockout win for Cachoeira, but Silva's no joke. What do you think?
Silva's no joke, Derek. When you were saying all that about Cachoeira, I was thinking the same thing going in the opposite direction for Silva, man, because Karine Killer Silva is no joke. And if she's able to control the fight, get it to where she wants, she can finish you on the feet or on the ground. I don't really have a prediction of the way this one's going, but folks, tune in is the right words.
The reason I say that and I'm so high on Cachoeira is because for her last fight, I called it like clockwork. I was like, bro, Cachoeira comes out, blisses forward, knocks Ariane Lipski out. And what happened? It's literally exactly what happened. So I was like, all right, man. And then if you do look, Silva, she got that first round Darce on Botelho. So if you're looking, a lot more submission stuff for Karine Silva versus... You know what I mean? And if you're Cachoeira, you don't want to get taken down. So you're going to have to come forward, but you're going to have to be careful. It's going to be a fun fight. That should put this one on the main card versus anyways, man. All right, folks, listen. If you haven't subscribed at this point of the show, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit the subscribe button. But while you're at it, go tune in, to some extracurriculars. In particular, go to Twitch, type in twitch.tv, do a /, and then just type in Santa Fe Bomber, and boom, you're right there with my boy. AJ, what can the people expect when they type in twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber, when they subscribe, when they tell all their friends about it, and they're tuned into a program? What can they expect?
A whole lot of fun, Derek, man. Enjoyment, engagement. Over there, man, we're doing a lot of things. We're variety streaming. That's, I guess, what the kids are calling it nowadays. But basically, you get a look into my life over here. Whether it's the art, whether it's the gaming, whether we're breaking down some fights. Either way, we're providing entertainment for you to engage back, talk back to me, enjoy the little camaraderie that we have as a community that we're building over there. And that's really the best part about it, folks. You want to have some discourse. You want to have engagement. Go over there, drop in the chat. Not only am I talking back to you, but everybody else is joining in on the conversation. It's a whole lot of fun. Twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber. Go check it out. It's going to be, I'm finishing up a project right now, finishing up an art project I've been working on for a couple weeks. So go tune into what to see it and even hit it up on Instagram, Twitter, all the same handle. It's a lot of fun. Check it out.
All right. I don't think I could have said it better myself. That's a good promo. So Twitter, youtube.com/D496 if you're interested in my fight night tweets, because, you know, I'm a good tweeter. Only on Saturday nights, though. Honestly, I'm trying to get better. That's the only time I tweet. Anyways, how about disregard that? Disregard all of that and just stick to the YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and tell a friend to tell a friend, because this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show, aka the Bloody Water Podcast, aka the bloodiest show in town. You already know what time it is. All right, folks, with that being said, that's all that we have for you for this preview show. Tune in back on Monday for the UFC Vegas 71 post show. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good one. All right, folks, that's it for us, and until next time, peace.